Support Series 3, Verb Tenses in English, Video 8, Past Perfect Continuous, How and When to Use it. Past Perfect Continuous. Please note that just watching these videos won't get you to improve upon your verb tenses. You'll actually need to be practicing this actively, but these videos will help you get through some theoretical background on verb tenses specifically to help you get started and to point you in the right direction. Frequently asked questions posed by clients. So if I want to talk about how long some events happened in the past, which tense do I then use? And if I want to sort of create an order or chronological order of events in time, what tense do I use, or which tense pair do I use? Stay tuned to find out the answers to these two questions. Let's start. This video consists of 4 parts. First of all, we're going to focus on the form. Then in part 2, positive and negative statements. In part 3, questions. And in part 4, when to use this verb tense. Note that in this part, the 2 answers will also be given to the questions that were posed earlier. The objective of this video is to refresh your memory when it comes to the present perfect continuous. Let's start. Part 1. Past perfect continuous, the basics, a focus on form. Start with the subject, then had, then the past participle of be, which is been, plus a verb of choice, plus ing ending, so that last verb has to be modified into an ing form. So for example, I'd been living there for 4 years when something happened. Moving on to part 2, past perfect continuous in statements. The basics, a focus on form. Let's start with positive statements. I'd been working there. You had been living there. He or she had been sleeping. It had been raining. We had been traveling. They had been working. Negative statements. Please note that had not been is contracted in this way, hadn't been. I had not been sleeping. I hadn't been sleeping. You had not been studying. You hadn't been studying. She had not been traveling. She hadn't been traveling. It had not been snowing. It hadn't been snowing. We had not been preparing. We hadn't been preparing. They had not been working. They hadn't been working. Part 3. The past perfect continuous used in questions. The basics, a focus on form. Closed-ended questions. Had I been sleeping? Had you been waiting? Had she been talking? Had she been reading? Had it been raining? Had we been eating? Had they been discussing? Past perfect continuous and open-ended questions. How long had I been sleeping? Well, how long had you been waiting? How long had she been talking? What had he been reading? How long had it been raining? What had we been eating? What had they been discussing? So like I mentioned at the start of this video, you will need to practice this to be able to start mastering it. So take a course with us, or let us develop a tailor-made language and communication course for you. Alright, so let's move on to the next part of this video. And finally, part 4, the past perfect continuous usage. When to use the past perfect continuous and why. The past perfect continuous is used to talk about how long a finished action lasted before a second point in time started. So it's used with words like for and time. An example. He had been working at the company for 10 years when Julie had just started working there. So the past perfect can also be used here, especially with stative verbs like know, realize, and seem. Pause the video here for a quick recap. And finally, the past perfect continuous is used to discuss a result at the time. So a time in the past, and is used for an action that had started in the past and continued up to another action in the past. For example, I'd been working the entire night before a meeting, and that is why I was really tired and off my game. Pause the video here for a quick recap. In this video, the past perfect continuous was discussed. Up next, more videos on verb tenses in English. Please note that you can subscribe to stay updated on all things English for specific and academic purposes. So new videos will be published shortly. So if you'd like to learn how to start using them well, and if you'd like to practice them, take a course with us or let us develop a tailor-made training service for you to make sure that you won't waste any time and money in the long run. Well, that concludes our video, but we'd love to hear from you too, so please comment below and share your experiences. If this video was useful for you, please like it and subscribe to my channel.